before
Hey,
somebody calls me. Hey.
hey, Wendy Bell Radio is live.
Good morning. Hi, everybody. Yes, I still sound snotty. Sorry.
It has nothing to do. That's always.
That's not always anything. But my neti pot and I are close friends.
Are you?
Have you ever
Is
seen
that the one you stick up your nose?
It's not really like that, but kind of. You just have to tilt, and then it goes up one and comes out the other. So if you ever have sinus infections, it helps.
I had a yellow spray ball with that, and I don't know how that's supposed to make it better.
Right.
Oh,
That's not you. That's me.
I'll fix it.
Wow.
Fix it. No one needs to put.
That's what he said. It's not you, it's me. Isn't that from Seinfeld? I think it is.
That's usually what the women say, isn't it?
No. Is it? Because we break up with you? Yeah. You're probably right.
Wow.
Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday. Still no verdict. Okay. I don't really know how it's going to impact us either way. We're going to talk about that a little bit.
The echo is fixed. I'm
Nice.
sorry, everybody. The echo will be.
There you go. Tomorrow, I'm looking forward to wearing my fuzzy new sweatshirt. My hoodie. I like it. It's really soft. And by the way, I washed the triggered shirt for Joe and my shirt as well. They launder beautifully. Beautifully.
They're pre-shrunk cotton.
They're so nice. It's so nice. So I like having quality stuff, which is fantastic.
I'm wearing a Wendy Bell Radio shirt. It's the blue one.
Oh, I like it. Way to cover it up with that thing that you've got on top of it. That's awesome.
It's a little chilly.
Oh. Well, you could have done what I do, and you get that waffle knit shirt underneath, and you put that on
I'm
top.
waiting for camo. Jason's dropping the ball on the camo.
Camo.
I'm dropping the ball.
Right. This sounds like the first time he's ever heard of that.
No,
We talked about
exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
We talked about designs
Mhm.
and things to put on it.
How about just the logo?
So how did it go yesterday? You guys had a good time?
I think it went okay. It was more just
Figuring
sitting here
out.
and seeing everything and seeing the
Yeah.
clock.
It's a process.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in.
I was there.
For how long?
I was there.
Exactly. For how long? Minute, two, maybe
Probably
3.
10 minutes.
Please.
Probably-
Shows how much he trusts us to do our job well.
Probably 10 minutes. Why do you need me breathing
don't.
down your neck?
I don't.
Right? You don't.
I don't.
Wow.
I
So
would've-
you say very quickly, I don't.
It wasn't about anything other than Jason sitting here, seeing the board, actually pressing the buttons,
Well, we've got lots to talk about today, guys.
I did pay you a compliment. Were you there for that 10 minutes?
I was not there
There
for
you
that.
go.
No, I was not there for
Just at
that.
the very end.
No.
Wow. Okay. Well, sadly, I'm not going to go back and try to find it.
Wow.
You can tell me what it was.
No.
Okay. That's fine.
I'm not going to make it easy for you. I know
Okay.
you won't go back and listen, so I'm not going to make it easy for you.
Well, this is a fact. You guys, we have some really interesting tidbits today. I think that
Marcia said you did a good job.
Nice. Hey, Park City, Utah. What's up, Dawn? Love to see that.
Hey, happy birthday.
Alaska. From Palmer, Alaska. Right on. Yes, happy birthday to your brother.
Yeah, he's almost as old as you.
Yes, he's got a few years to go.
Yeah, he's 49.
Few years to go. See, you think that bothers me, but I've earned every single. It's like stretch marks. Yes, each one
You don't
dutifully
look your
earned.
age.
I look my age.
No,
You know,
you
the
don't.
best thing you could want is to look your age or to look good for your age, right?
Okay,
That's fine.
whatever. I was just saying, I was trying to be nice. There you go.
Why would we want to do that? Why start something new?
Excrement pie right
Let's have
on
some
my...
little meringue shimmering on your poo pie.
Well, here's the thing. Does Kate look her age? No,
I don't know.
I don't think she does.
Kate looks like she's 12. She's
Well,
got.
thanks for calling me a map.
That's so gross.
That is
Minor attractive person. Blah, 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 blah. Well, look, we're not pedophiles. We're minor attractive people. I'm like, you're gross, is what you are.
Words have meaning.
You can spin it and create your little
Right.
acronym all you want. but you're disgusting. So there you go.
Wisconsin,
If you missed it, that was yesterday's Lib of the Week.
Minnesota,
Great to have you guys.
Illinois.
Georgia. Hi, Raymond. We've got Antioch, Illinois.
Lisa in Michigan.
Hey, Jessica, isn't that the land of Kyle Rittenhouse, if I'm not mistaken? It is from where he drove. As the media breathlessly say, he broke the law, crossed 8 lines, carrying a firearm. No, he didn't. Don't let the facts get in the way with your narrative. Blandon, Pennsylvania. Well, I will tell you this.
Hurry up.
My face is dripping right now with snot. So, I know.
That's hot.
I know. You all want me. So we'll muddle through together.
How you do it.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go. Five, four, three, two, one.
Using facts to take on the woke politicians, triggered leftists, and the corporate media.
You just got to try harder not to suck.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, you're listening to the Wendy Bell radio program.
Hello, America. Happy Thursday to all of you, and welcome to the Wendy Bell radio program. As always, we're honored to have you along for some common sense conservatism on this Thursday. Where else are you going to get this, right, except here? So we thank you for choosing this program. We know you've got a lot of options out there. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. So where my kids go to school, my youngest too, it's the same school we've been going since my oldest kids were in elementary school. It's just about a block and a half away from our house. So the boys, Bob and Chris, will ride their bikes. I don't know why they ride their bikes. Literally, they're there in 35 seconds. Like, you have to get there faster. The walk is so laborious now. It's a cute little school. We've really enjoyed it, our Catholic elementary school, middle school. In the front is this huge, well, it's pretty good size based on a community Catholic school, good size playground, swing sets, all that jazz. And there's mulch everywhere. I hate the mulch. Mulch is necessary for school. You got to have mulch. Don't want people to fall and hit the ground and bonk themselves. But kids and mulch are a bad combination. I've had mulch in more places in my house than I'd like to admit. It's been in couch cushions. It's been in the dog's food bowl. It's in my dryer. It's on the steps. I'm like, what are you people doing with mulch? It's stuck to their socks. It's in their hair. Oh, we got into a mulch fight at recess. What? That's so dumb. What are you doing? You know, kids like to do stuff like that. It's one thing to watch your kids act like children. You expect it. There's cycles, phases, there's development. It's kind of cool. But when you're watching your elected representatives in Congress have proverbial mulch fights and act like crybabies on the playground, throwing temper tantrums and grandstanding for social media, for clicks and likes and popularity. You know what? It's just not so cute. And this is where we are. Flipping through the news last night, disgusted by what our out-of-touch representation thinks is really important in this country. I don't know about you guys, but I can name 15 things right now that are a heck of a lot more pressing to me, my family, and our finances, let alone our safety, than this political bickering BS that these men and women who've lost touch with reality think is more important. So yesterday, some of the big oxygen on Capitol Hill involved Representative Paul Gosar tweeting out something, a photoshopped anime video, I guess. I don't even know what the heck it was because he deleted it shortly after he put it up because it was stupid. And in the photoshopped video, it allegedly shows him killing AOC. At what point is this representative of what the heck matters in the United States of America today? So he gets taken off of his committee assignments. He's censured, whatever, like the 22nd member of Congress to have it happen, whatever. He's stupid. Why did you do that? Why are we talking about this? Only to be followed by Ilhan Omar, the Israel-hating Somali, I should say, from Minnesota, who wants to get into a peeing match with Representative Lauren Boebert from Colorado, who goes off on the House floor and saying just ridiculously reprehensible things about Eric Swalwell and Ilhan. How does this impact you, ladies and gentlemen? What does this do for you? Why do they think that this is the focus of America? They don't. They are so out of touch. They have absolutely no idea what matters to you and me. This bickering, this childish mulch throwing on the playground. This is the United States Congress. You know, one of the 3 co-equal branches of government where it should be an honor. I cannot fathom the idiocy of so many of these people. And the disconnect. Meanwhile, I have new information about the highest gas prices in the country. Meanwhile, everyday average Americans like you and like me are looking at our budgets saying, are we going to be able to afford the holidays? What's this going to actually end up costing us? I have sound today that should infuriate you because it's the ambivalence, the laughing off of the problems this government has created. And I almost think that this is punishment. I almost think that everything we're going through right now is payback for 63 million Americans voting for Donald Trump. Did you have any concept how disgusting and corrupt and childish so many of these players in Washington, D.C. were until Donald Trump came into office, until he popularized the saying, the swamp? It's not a joke. It's true. The disconnect is palpable. And you're going to hear a story later in the broadcast. Now that OSHA has put a temporary hold on its execution of Joe Biden's vaccine mandate, it's working its way through the court process. There should be no mandate. But some of the biggest pushback is from everyday average Americans, including truck drivers. We have a staggering story for you today. The president of the Truckers Association saying 37% of the truckers in this country are absolutely adamantly opposed to getting the job. Ladies and gentlemen, if those 37% of truckers decide to walk off the job, not do their job, we don't make it. You're going to wish you had that rationing at Costco for your tray of chicken because it's not going to be there. Forget finding toilet paper. It's not going to exist. Meanwhile, back in the halls of Congress, we have childish, name-calling, spiteful, snippy behavior. And furthermore, we're to believe that all of America is holding its collective breath, waiting for one verdict. Do you know who that verdict affects? Kyle Rittenhouse. I want to ask why to so much of what we're going to talk about today. Why does Congress not seem to understand? Why does Black Lives Matter feel the need to congregate outside the courthouse in Kenosha? Why does this impact them? Why did police officers find pallets of bricks in a Kenosha alleyway? Why does the Democratic Party use violence as a political payback? Why can't we get honest leadership in this country? It's one thing to find mulch in your house, ladies and gentlemen. It's another thing to watch grown men and women, many of whom have had the honor and the privilege of serving the United States people for decades, watching them behave like toddlers on the playground. We have a real crisis here. It is palpable, and it's only beginning. And the more we see people like Energy Secretary Granholm laughing off high gas prices, or President Biden pretending as though, well, just because people are shopping more, they have more money. That's why there's such a supply chain crisis. Or Jen Psaki alleging it's because women they can't afford childcare that so many people have left their jobs. That's not because of what? We're in crisis mode. And something has to happen fast before we go swirling down with that sinking ship of fools. I want to read this. It's from Dawn. She writes, I'm almost finished with my 60-day program at Advanced Integrative Medical 360. I'm excited to report that I've lost 26 pounds so far, but so far more than the weight loss. I feel so much better. The severe joint pain that I've had for over a year has decreased to a minimum. I'm sleeping better. I have so much more energy. I just needed a kickstart, some positive energy, and the knowledge of what to do that works. And Advanced Integrative Medical 360 gave me that. They not only gave me the tools I needed to make the change, they supported me throughout the process. Advanced Integrative Medical 360, 412-227-9255. They operate in 47 states, ladies and gentlemen. Doesn't matter where you live, they can help you lose weight, find answers to your medical issues, and get your life back on track. Online, integrativemedical360.com. When we come back, some of the more glaring, hypocritical commentary from our illustrious leaders in Congress. They want to censor Paul Gosar, who had no right doing what he did. What a fool, what a child. But you know what? He's not alone on the playground. We'll talk about that coming up next on the Wendy Bell Radio program.
For the people who say Democrats never get censured, the last person to get censured was a Democrat, Charlie Rangel,
Charles Rangel, yeah.
for ethical violations. But what a waste.
It makes
of time.
it just
I watched it.
it's such a disgrace. It's infuriating. It's infuriating.
This comes back to a question you and I talked a lot about off the air. One, why do it, right? What purpose does it serve? But also, why waste time? Like, what are they all getting out of this? What's Lauren Boebert? I'm sorry.
They all want
made
clicks.
an ass out of herself.
You know what? And people who I respect, who give me a lot of tips for things that I wouldn't otherwise see, we're celebrating that. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not down with that.
Yeah,
it was cringe worthy. She literally is off her rocker and is trying to score these points to get clicks. Like if your job approval comes down to Twitter followers, Houston, we've got a problem. You know, social media can be a great way to get things across. But if it's your existence, if it's what motivates you, if it's what drives you, I have a problem. A big problem with that. Now, I rely on it too.
Right.
You know, we rely on it. Don't get me wrong.
Here's what he should have done. Taken it down. No, Ilhan Omar is off her rocker too. She shouldn't have responded. This guy should have went to her gone to her AOC privately and said, "I'm sorry, I stepped over." And then if AOC makes a big deal about it, then you call her out for saying, "Listen, I tried to do the right thing. I took it down."
I would have done one better. I would have just said when all that was happening, you know what? Guilty. That was a poor move, and my heartfelt apologies.
Right.
That's not
apologize.
That's not how this is supposed to be, and I was wrong. So darn right, I will take the punishment and figure it out. So my apologies.
But no, he made every Republican stand up and say, "No, don't do this. Look what you guys have done."
Well, there's a hell of a double standard, and we're going to be talking about that here. That's a fact. Just grow up.
And look what McCarthy did. He basically said, "Go ahead and do this. When we get power, you're next."
You know, what do we have now? We have an aha game in Congress where we're going to keep running track of all of the things that the left does. So when Republicans take power a year from now, they can do that gotcha moment. Aha, gotcha. You know, this doesn't move the needle for anybody. So in my family, we have a rule about cell phones. It's a very unpopular rule. But as I've explained the proximity of our elementary/middle school to you, there's really no need for my kids to have had cell phones before they went to college, or high school rather. High school involved a bus, a Port Authority bus, public transit. It involves an app to follow. There are certain things the kids need to manage. I get it. In elementary school, I just don't see the need for a fifth grader to have a cell phone, by and large. Now, your family circumstance may be different. I understand. But living close to the school, we had nannies for many, many years when the kids were young and I worked weird hours. They didn't need a phone. So the rule is you get a phone on your 14th birthday. Yes, that would make my sons the last people, probably in almost their entire school, to have phones. Their birthday, 14, is next summer. So I'm going to surprise them. And I'm going to buy them phones for Christmas. One, they won't be expecting it. They will be expecting it in June. I selfishly like to see the look on their face. So I'm going to go early. I'm going to get them each a phone. It scares me, though. I already don't see enough of them with iPads and Xbox and other things that they do that take them other places than hanging out with me in the kitchen when I'm cooking dinner. I don't need their heads buried in it 24/7, which is what, by and large, we all do. I'm as guilty as the next person. But to be a member of Congress and to use social media as some indication of popularity, or to try to get clicks or likes or follows, or to make it in the daily news cycle, I want the fighter behind the scenes who's actually crafting the legislation that makes a difference. I want the people with integrity, not those who are willing or wanting to go out and make a splash and appear on Newsmax or OAN or CNN. And look, Representative Paul Gosar, whatever, however you pronounce his last name, what he did was stupid. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is highly irrelevant. I don't like her any more than he does. But how embarrassing. Takes me back to, I don't know, a little double standard on the left, though. You guys remember when Maxine Waters broke curfew during the George Floyd situation, decided to cross state lines, demand that people stay in the street, protest and riot until Derek Chauvin's verdict came back guilty, guilty, guilty? Who the hell is she to interject herself into that? Or how about Chuck Schumer standing on the steps of the Supreme Court, telling Justices Kavanaugh and Gorsuch that they will pay if they don't vote a certain way in an abortion case? Or how about Cory Booker in 2018 telling activists to get up in the faces of some Congress people? Or Eric Holder correcting Michelle Obama, saying when they go low, we go high, saying no, when they go low, we kick them. Classy. Or how about Joaquin Castro that said Democrats would fight Trump in the street? Or even Joe Biden, who said he wanted to take Trump out behind the gym and kick his butt. Joe, really? Or how about one of my favorite noxious, toxic, race-baiting congressional activist ne'er-do-wells, Michigan Representative Cynthia Jones, who urged her supporters to attack Trump loyalists and make them pay? Really? You know, what about the 500,000 homeless veterans? 50,000. How about the 150,000 homeless people sleeping on the streets in California? How about the uptick in fentanyl cases now that God knows who is walking across the border with God knows what? How about the obscene cost of goods and services? How about the complete debacle of healthcare? How about the exorbitant fee if you get sick? Thanks, Obamacare. How about the absolute abysmal failure of education in this country? How about the outlandish cost of prescription drugs? Can you think about a million things more important than these people becoming political activists for clicks on their phones? I can. 100%. When we come back, further illustration of the out of touch. I almost wish we had the Hall & Oates song here. Joy Reid and Elizabeth Warren knocking it out of the park, making fun of gas prices almost. You're listening to the Wendy Bell Radio program. $50,000 homeless veterans, not 500. I said that and I was like, that's an awful lot of homeless veterans.
You want to do chimneys?
Oh, I would
Talk
love
about your chimney.
to. All right, so this is a great opportunity for me to talk about my new sponsor, Piccadilly Chimney. I really love talking to these guys. They know what they're doing. And this is the time of year, as the weather is turning, for you guys to take advantage of a very special group of experts, and that's Piccadilly Chimney. They will come to your house. They will inspect everything. They'll clean your chimney. They'll check out the liner. They'll go up and they'll see all of the components of it. They've been in business for almost 35 years here in Pittsburgh, and every single Piccadilly chimney sweep is certified. There's an extensive certification process that happens. You can't just be some fly-by-night plumber and do this. You have to be an expert. They can install new chimney caps, new chimney crowns. They can do everything for you so that you know when you fire up your fireplace that your family is going to be warm and safe all winter long. They operate out of Allegheny, Washington, and Beaver counties. 412-221-0196. PiccadillyChimneyCompany.com, or Piccadilly Chimney, I should say, .com. And remember, don't just pick any chimney sweep, Piccadilly. PiccadillyChimney.com. They're so nice.
I wish I had a chimney. I do, but it was covered over years and years and years.
Is that right?
Ago. Yeah.
So, like, it was plastered over or something?
Yeah, it was plastered over. Then I drywalled over it because
you could
to have one rebuilt, you know, and mine was about fixing my house and was fixing the downstairs while living in the upstairs. And when you sand hardwood floors, when you have real hardwood floors and you strip them down, those little particles go absolutely everywhere.
Oh my
you
goodness!
Can plastic things off, and somehow you're
it's still in your bed.
Yeah, where did this come from?
Yeah, it shows up in your sheets. You're like, that's very interesting. We had that when we did our kitchen. It's all plasticed off and everything, like zippers and forget it. No, you're right.
It's like sand at the beach.
Yeah.
How did it end up there?
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Something's not feeling comfortable.
That's right. That's sand in your butt.
Yes. And why do we put up with it? Because of the end result. Not the sand in the butt, but
right.
Redoing my hardwood floors. I knew what the end result
was. Did you do it yourself?
Uh-huh.
What'd you do?
I sanded them down.
Like hands and knees sanded?
No.
Oh.
You have a big sander, and even for the ones, I didn't use one that had the exhaust, like the vacuum hookup.
That sucks up all the schmutz?
Yeah, but even so, it's all the sanding. It's going anyways.
Does it make a big difference?
Sanding your floors down? Oh yeah, yeah, because you're putting you're basically taking off any wax, any dirt, any.
Yeah,
stain.
I have to do that. We're gonna do that probably next year sometime.
Do you have real hardwood?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, I have
Has it ever been
hardwood?
Has it ever been? Well, they make laminate now that look better.
That's in my basement.
Yeah, I mean it looks.
Basement.
Has it ever been done before? Because you can only strip them so many times.
Mm-mm.
You'll like it.
No.
I'd do it for you, but
negative, Ghost Rider. It's a heck of a lot. It's a heck of a lot.
Well, I
of work.
would charge you, but why would I do it for free?
Why wouldn't you do it for free?
Because you just said it's a lot of work.
Yeah, but you'd get Murphy and beer.
Would I want you standing over my shoulder criticizing how I turned the machine on or off?
I would just criticize how you pronounce the word on. Other than that, I'd probably leave you alone.
I had someone helping me, and all of a sudden I hear, oops. And he took a divot out of my floor. I told him, I said, stop. He's like, I'm really sorry. I'm like, get out.
Wow.
And he's like, what? I go, appreciate your help. And I'm cleaning it up. Get out.
Wow. Well, note to self, don't help Brock with home improvement projects.
Well, it's like, so I put this floating floor in my kitchen. It looks like tile, like old stone tile. And it was $14 a plank. I took my check that I got back from overpaying my taxes, and I was like, I'm going to put a nice floor in, right? So it's $14 a plank. And the person's cutting, he's like, oh, I messed this one up. I'm like, that's $14.
Wow. Okay.
Well, when you're doing it yourself.
Are you gonna put hardwood in the lean-to on my property in Florida?
It depends how big the place is.
Ceramic tile's probably cooler.
It probably is. I'm not a big ceramic tile. I'd probably get laminate. If I got anything right now, I'd get the nice thing is they make laminate now that's for dogs can't scratch it. That's the only bad thing about hardwood is dogs can scratch it. Like mine needs done again, but I don't know how many times I can sand it down. Not that anyone really cares.
We did get off on a sidebar here, but you know what? Sometimes it's nice to not talk about everything in the world that sucks. So.
And Like you mean this morning when we're both like, we hate people?
Yeah. Just when you are immersed in this, you're like, I really dislike the majority of people who are in politics.
Here we go.
I think it's very transparent to see through the sales pitch of the left. So they want you to ignore what is ever present. And I think the one thing that is so obvious in this world is anything that has to do with the money in your wallet. There's no denying at the end of the day that your money is not going as far as it did this time last year. They cannot deny this fact, but what they can do is they can try to spin different yarns on why this is happening. I think one of the more offensive attacks has been to purport that because we were all locked down for a year, which is a huge misnomer. I don't know anybody who was. I didn't miss a single day of work. I did not go into the office one single time, save for the time my husband was an exposure to COVID at the hospital. And as a contact trace precaution, I did the show from my bedroom for 2 days. Save that time. There was not a single day last year that I did not go to work under the auspices of, it's not safe. So they're trying to spin this yarn to you that because you were not spending any money, which again is farcical, now you have all this money to spend, and the federal government gave you some stimulus money because they're such good people, right? And so now everybody's buying. That's why we have quote unquote inflation. That's why, quote unquote, there's a supply chain crisis. No. People are scared to death that they're not going to be able to get the basic things they need. And they're trying to get them now because they see the writing on the wall. And to say that gas prices, because nobody was driving last year, there was no demand, so the price of gas was low, is so economically idiotic and yet perfectly reasonable for MSNBC's Joy Reid. She's MSNBC, right? This is going to be her argument that you're going to hear in a moment. I don't know about you guys, but if you talk to a landscaper, if you speak to somebody who does masonry, who's a roofer, who does interior, who does any kind of construction, business was booming last year. Booming. People weren't sitting at home like squirreling away their nuts and berries. They were at home for a bit, identifying all the things that were wrong with their home, pulling the trigger on some projects, yes. We weren't just sitting at home in bunkers with MREs. Gas prices rise to a 7-year high. How are they going to spin this, I wonder? Here's a look at states where drivers pay the most. Now, I know we have a national audience. Gas prices soared to a 7-year high, reaching a nationwide average, $3.42 as of Tuesday. This is according to data from AAA. That's 16 cents higher than a month ago. Think about that. I don't know about you, but I drive around looking for better prices, which kind of is stupid if you think about it, because I'm wasting gas to find better prices. But there's something mental about it, yes? And 80 cents more a gallon than in 2019. Given a typical 15-gallon gas tank, that means Americans are spending on average about $19.65 more each time they go to the pump compared with the same time a year ago. I fill up at least once a week. That's at least $80 to $100 for me for a month. $1,200. 2 people in my family, $2,400. Oh yeah, I have 3 sons who can drive. Wow. Now you're talking. California continues to top the nation's most expensive markets at $4.62 a gallon, followed by Hawaii, $4.33, Nevada, $3.95, Washington, $3.87, Oregon, $3.77, Utah, $3.72, Alaska, $3.71, Idaho, $3.69, DC, $3.61 a gallon, and Illinois, $3.60. So we found this very interesting exchange between Senator Elizabeth Warren and Joy Reid, race baiter, MSNBC, as they're trying to basically set your Thanksgiving table with excrement pie, trying to tell you that it's really not what you think it is. In this first bite, listen to Joy Reid try to explain that, in fact, the problem is just that people weren't driving for so long, and now we are. Don't you know? Go.
Here's another thing, because a lot of people are really upset about gas prices, but people weren't driving for a year, and somehow gas prices still went up.
People weren't driving for a year. Who was that? I drove all the time. Just because we had 15 days to slow the spread doesn't mean people didn't still have groceries to buy, errands to run, things to do, jobs to still go to. What an absolutely ambivalent and idiotic commentary. Well, if you think that's stupid, wait until Liz Warren hops in with her logic and laughs at you. Cut number 2.
There have been some calls to investigate these oil companies because also they don't really like Build Back Better either because it deals with their issues on the environment. But how is it that when people stayed home for a year, suddenly the price of gas went up? Can you explain that?
Yeah. So come on, Joy. We know exactly who the oil companies, what the oil companies pay attention to, what is their number one priority: profits.
Oh, we know. Don't you love how they sanctimoniously laugh at you? You silly people out there who don't have enough to fill up your trucks. You need to get a Tesla. Oh, because that's affordable. That's a great solution. We know what this is all about. This is about profit. Well, my rudimentary knowledge of college economics is based in the laws of supply and demand. When there's a lot of demand and not a lot of supply, prices go up. When you open the Keystone XL pipeline and then there is a natural supply, regardless of demand, you can meet it. So she's saying now it's not really about inflation. It's not that this administration sucks. It's not that we're horrible in every aspect of governance. It's that oil companies are trying to gouge you. Really? Let's hear what she says now. This isn't about inflation.
Think about it this way. If this were just ordinary inflation, we might see prices go up. But prices at the pump have gone up. Why? Well, let me give you a hint. Chevron, Exxon have doubled their profits. This isn't about inflation. This is about price gouging.
That is going to be the talking point for all of you out there who are just like we are and experiencing this every single day at the pump. It's OPEC's fault. It's Chevron's fault. It's never the fault of Joe Biden's January 20th, 2021 executive order. To do what? Stop the Keystone Pipeline. And then they wanted to tinker with the one in Michigan, and people went absolutely haywire. This is the problem. They know this is the problem. They presume you're too stupid to identify the problem, which every single day when you open up your wallet stares you right in the face. Then Warren, as she, of course, in her sanctimonious way, talks to you like a kindergartner. We know what's going on. Let me explain it to you. Here's a hint. I'll choke you. That's rude. Don't talk to people like that, yes? Right? Did I just do a Paul Gosar?
I think you need to take her to HR and throw her down the steps.
See? She says we need to listen to her solution. The solution is never what we submitted Paul Gosar should have done in putting up a stupid tweet of him choking or killing AOC and just said, you know what, that was really stupid. I'm sorry. Let's fix this problem now. Let's not let it happen again. The responsible thing for the Democratic Party to do would be to go to Joe Biden, or for Joe Biden to have an epiphany and say, you know what, I was wrong. We need that Keystone pipeline. We need those jobs, but we need an affordable source of oil. We need energy independence, and we're not. But that's not what they're going to do. That's why I say it almost feels as though we're being punished. Oh, yeah? You liked how things were? You voted for how things were? We're going to do every single thing we can to make things so much worse. You're going to remember it. You're not going to go against us again. It almost sounds crazy for me to say that, but doesn't it feel like that? Cut number 4, more dizzying insights from Elizabeth Warren.
When we see prices go up, we're all concerned, and the Republicans want to come in and just try to hammer on one theme about this economy. But we got to pay attention to the fact that folks like the oil companies say, I think it's just another opportunity to make profits, and we need to call them out on that.
And don't you see, too, how these solutions, these faux smokescreens, we need to call them out. What's that going to do tomorrow at your corner gas station? We need to investigate the root causes of migration. What's that going to do to stop people from making that long, treacherous trek? What's that going to do? We need to investigate those Border Patrol agents who whipped people with their reins. Oh, right. What's that going to do? There's never a solution because they are the problem and they know it. And in order to fix the problem, they have to admit that it is theirs. One final sound bite. And I think this is very, very telling because this is another narrative of theirs. Actually, you know what, Brock? I'm going to hold off on this because this is a whole nother realm of idiocy that they're branching off into. Why is it, if this is such a hot job market, if raising the minimum wage is such a fantastic issue, right? We should do that. Pay your fair share. Why is everybody leaving the workforce? Well, they can't afford childcare. Why could they afford it last year? Why did they afford it in 2019? What's changed besides you giving them money? We're going to talk about that in a minute. You know, I know it's a boy who was in school with one of my older sons who played soccer and was concussed 3 times in 1 year. And basically his athletic career in the 10th grade was over. There's only so much trauma the brain can manage. And I remember his parents took him out of school. He literally was out of school for 6 months and never seemed right. And it was traumatic for the family. The Simkovich Concussion Institute is a place for hope and for healing. Dr. Charles Simkovich has a revolutionary procedure that he does with his hands and the soft palate and various places in the mouth and in the head and in the neck that can do some amazing things with healing the symptoms of traumatic brain injury and concussion. And he heals brains. He heals them. Think about that. Amazing. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. They're wonderful people. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com, 412-366-3700. Costs you nothing to sit down and see if Dr. Simkovich can help you too. All right, when we come back, we're going to dip our toe in this discussion about child care. Because, you know, we've got to provide free, universal pre-K, free child care for folks. Why? Why? Wait until you hear Joy Reid explain the process to you. It's infuriating. You're listening to the Wendy Bell radio program. Don't go anywhere.
I don't understand how they don't understand. People can't afford childcare now because it costs more to eat. It costs more to drive to the store to get something to eat.
You have less money.
Right.
The pocket of money or
Right.
the pool of money.
Inflation. I don't know why that's so hard to understand. To me, it's just common sense. But then again, like a lot of you said in the past, common sense isn't so common anymore. Joy Reid is very toxic. For you guys that watched yesterday, hopefully you're picking up on the 30-second music and the different things that we do and cues for Wendy when she hears things. We revealed a lot of secrets yesterday.
I'm so sorry. We were having a secretive conversation without you. What'd you say?
I already had that
I
conversation
know.
without you.
Wow.
We gave away a lot of secrets yesterday.
Is that right?
Yeah, the 30-second music.
Yeah.
Why?
Did you share with everybody the fact that I'm fabulous?
I held that up for myself.
Oh, please.
Wow.
Did you Backtronics it after you were done?
No.
Okay.
Unless you got snot all over the...
Well, there is some fomite action going on here. I know. It's attractive.
Oh, yeah. Good thing there's this glass between us.
I'm
Because
great.
I'd be all over you.
I'm grateful, though, that it's not like, you know, when you blow your nose a lot and you get that really red nose raw?
Yeah.
I don't have that, at least. So I've got one thing going for me. I'm trying.
Just
I'm grasping at straws.
Right, just one.
Okay. So what do we want to ask them?
I think it's just, how's this all affecting you guys? I know what I see when I go to the store. Is it affecting you?
Are you feeling this as much as we are? Because I'm starting to feel uncomfortable.
You make me uncomfortable all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
You know, the reason gas prices are high, Liz Warren, isn't because more people are driving. It's because we're not energy independent. The reason people are switching jobs to the tune of 4 million in September, getting out of the workforce, isn't because they're finding better opportunities per se elsewhere. They've gotten really comfortable not having to go to work. I mean, think about fundamentally the workplace. How many of you work in environments that involved an office building of some nature? Some kind of a high-rise? How vacant are they? People have gotten very comfortable to roll out of bed, put on their slippers, maybe brush their hair and their teeth and sit in front of their Zoom call and do whatever they do for their jobs. And they've gotten paid to not go to work. So this isn't some, you know, things are so good now. You have no idea how good it is. And the more they want to try to push that narrative, the more insulting it gets. But this line about childcare, about all of a sudden, we can't afford to take care of our own children. Well, I have a news flash. You ought not have kids If you don't have a way to support yourself or them, it is not our job to pay for everybody else's decision making any more than it's our job to pay to end their pregnancy. But please don't try to tell us that because childcare is so expensive, women are dropping out of the workforce. No, everything is costing more, and so there's less money to spend on things like childcare. Listen to this final cut before we'll at least give you a breather and move away from the noxious Joy Reid. Yeah.
People are frustrated because of the supply chain issues, meaning you order some stuff online, you order a couch, and it takes like 12 weeks for it to get there. But the things that are making it hard for people to work in the jobs where they ship stuff to you, the people who work in shipping, the people who work as clerks, the people who work driving trucks, but especially, as you said, the people who work in those jobs that are part of that supply chain that are women. They're not going back to work because they can't afford the child care. They're not going back to work. They can't, it's like the things that you could actually do to get people back to work, you'd fix the supply chain if you passed that bill.
And there it is. The only way for us to fix the supply chain problem is not to identify the Democratic policies that have made the transfer of goods from shores, from containers to trucks, from trucks to stores. It's not that it's those ridiculous policies that require X, Y, or Z, including vaccination. It's that the people who work in shipping, did you hear her? The people who work in shipping, she has no idea what she's talking about. This is the disconnect. They are completely out of touch. And as much as she wants to champion herself as just like everybody else, just another blue-collar African American, no, she's one of the elite. These people who are truckers, those worker people, the ones with the dirty fingernails, right? I want to know this from you. How is this impacting you? I know it's impacting me for how I'm going to be making decisions over the holidays. What about you? What do you want to say to these people? What do you want them to hear? How is this impacting your budget? How is this impacting your family? And is the solution spending another $1.75 trillion? Of course not. Of course not. Again, it's almost as though they're trying to bankrupt us as punishment for November 2016. You voted for him. He tore the scab off of this ugly sore called the swamp, and now you will pay. How's this impacting you guys? What's the real story in America, in your household? 833 WBR Show. The next half hour is yours, my favorite part of the day. 833 WBR Show, phone in. Talk to me. You're listening to the Wendy Bell Radio program.
When you go radio, your name.
You know what, guys? This is a great opportunity for me to talk about my friends Diane and Gary Ireland at Ireland Contracting. They're very excited to tell you about this new roofing color they have called Bourbon. It's by Owens Corning because they are an Owens Corning Platinum Preferred dealer. Top 1% of roofers in the country get to say that. Ireland Contracting is in southwestern Pennsylvania. They also do some work across the border in Ohio, and their focus is home exterior remodeling. So new siding completely changes the look of your house. If you need a new roof, Gary is the kind of guy whose Amish installers are beyond good. But if Gary sees something that's wrong with any of the installation projects, they tear it out and they start over again until it is right. These folks have integrity. They stand by their work. They give you honest pricing, and they're good, patriotic individuals, Gary and Diane Ireland. Call them today, 1-800-NEW-ROOF. Go to IrelandContracting.com. Tell them we sent you, A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Angie's List, Guild Quality, and by us here at the Wendy Bell Radio Show.
I like when they say, like wages are up X%. Well, if everything else is up 6%,
Yeah.
I mean, what's it matter? If my wages
6.
go up 5%,
6, eat 6.
well,
you know what I mean?
Let's just use a
Right.
overall 6%, right? Then maybe there's 6%
54%.
inflation. Well, if my raise is 5% or 10%, I'm really only getting 4% of a raise, which is essentially cost of living.
And by the way, when you raise wages,
It costs more.
the product that you're selling, the trickle down effect obviously goes to you. There's a reason why bacon is $10 a pound. I like bacon. I don't like it $10 worth. Can I afford it? Probably. Is it a principle? Yes. I don't want to stick it to the farmers, but it's not them who are charging the prices. Well, this is good. We've got a nice round robin from different places.
Yeah. I look at everything now, to be honest with you. Before, I never really looked. I look at everything now.
I remember when Stinky's had to put up a sign in there. This is a place that my family loves to go here in Pittsburgh, our favorite place for wings and beer and whatnot. And they had to put up a sign that said, I'm sorry, but we had to raise our prices X% because all of the distributors have jacked up the prices. We can't keep up. So it is what it is. And you don't want to not go because I love them.
And
right?
they have good food.
And they have good food, so I do go.
So Amber says I found bacon on sale for $5.99 yesterday. Bought several packs. And see, that's part of the problem with the supply. And I'm not blaming you, Amber.
No,
I
you
would have
didn't.
done the same thing.
Right. Get what
It's the
you
same
can
thing
get.
with toilet paper and paper towel. People are like, hey, if you're not going to be consistent and I can't trust that you're going to have this,
Right.
I'm going to buy it now.
Right.
That's why I go to Costco and I buy the big thing of ground meat and then I cut it up and freeze it.
Is that how you do it? Sorry.
I don't like her.
What? You buy in bulk and then cut it up and freeze it for later? Is that how it's done? Oh, I love me. Your silence is deafening.
Friday can't come here soon enough.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm living for the weekend right now.
Oh, hush. I'm ready for it. I want all the leaves to come down, though. I don't understand why our community's leaf
Andy
pickup.
has a leaf sucker upper.
The leaf, I'd love that. But our communities,
He says it sucks
can
him
I finish what I'm saying so I can actually think about what I'm saying? So you have 5 bags that you can put out every week. That's your maximum. So one day a fall, they'll have the free-for-all yard
up. I
pickup.
know you told us this last week.
Exactly, but it's before all the leaves have fallen. So how's that really helpful?
Now, see, if you would have let me finish,
Well,
this leaf sucker upper, it mulches it, and for every 5 bags, it mulches it down to 1 bag.
mm-hmm.
That would solve your problem.
Where do I get said leaf sucker upper?
Andy,
Does he sell them?
he rents them.
He rents them.
Yeah.
Mm.
Do you want me to ask him about it?
Yeah.
Because it's not like you don't have his phone number and you couldn't text him. But
I
get
don't
it.
want to bother him.
What? Well, how's it me bothering him okay.
Whatever.
Well, it might be rented out. Who knows?
If you call and the line is busy, which it most assuredly
Don't
will
leave a
be,
message.
don't leave a message.
Do.
Just
Don't
call
leave a
us back.
message.
Just call us back. I'll get to you, I promise.
And if she doesn't, that's her being a freaking Democrat, not living up to her promise. All right. 1 hour down. I don't know what Paul. I call it a leaf sucker upper because that's what it. He says it sucks up twigs and sticks too. Here we go. Your favorite part of the show.
Why is it my favorite part of the show?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Using facts to take on the woke politicians, triggered leftists, and the corporate media.
You just got to try harder not to suck.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, you're listening to the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back, everybody. I think we struck a nerve. Lines are hot from all across America. If you phone in to talk about this, what really is mattering to you? How is this inflation attacking your bottom line? And are you watching the way we're watching as the left just kind of laughs it off and comes up with these smoke screen BS reasons why? I know I've seen it. All right, let's get out to Tracy in Michigan. Hello, Tracy. Welcome to the Wendy Bell radio program.
Hey, Wendy, how you doing?
I'm great. What's up?
I am so frustrated. I actually had to take my truck in August 26th because I had rodent damage to my wiring harness, and I'm still waiting for that wiring harness.
What?
And it's been three months now. Yeah.
Okay, now
I get an email every. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say I complained about a stupid couch. I'd really be complaining about a ride.
Yeah, luckily I've been able to use my mom's truck during this time. I work from home, so it's not a huge deal. But I get an email from both Chrysler and the dealership to tell me we have no estimated time of delivery on your wire harness. We'll keep you posted.
Right.
Once a week.
Yeah, because it's sitting on a dock in Long Beach, you know?
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yeah.
And then how about the cost of
So my solution is this. How about you take the chip out of my old vehicle, put that into a new vehicle, and just give me that one?
There you go.
Because there's a wiring harness on the new vehicle, for sure.
You sound a little too common sense for us right now. I'm not sure I can have you back, Tracy. Hey, I hope it works out for you. That is really aggravating. I can't even fathom. Eileen's in Nebraska. Hi, Eileen. Welcome, and thanks for holding.
Hi. Thank you, Wendy. I love your show.
Thank you.
And I'm a senior, a retired person, and we were told that we were going to get a 5.9 cost of living raise in January, but they were excited. We should be happy about that, but they failed to tell most people that they're raising Medicare 14.9% as well.
Now, how do you find, literally, does this just hit your mailbox? Are they just nonchalantly telling you this, or are you not even told?
I just hit the 14.5. I just came across some site that I watch, but we were told by when I first moved here. I just moved here in November that you're going to get a raise, Social Security 5.9% in January, but she never said. But we're raising Medicare Part B 14.9%.
Yeah, and how are you feeling with the price of goods and services right now? Is this impacting you? Because I know I'm stressed out.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's impacting me now as a single person. We eat a lot of pasta, unfortunately, things that stretch, get a few meals out of it. And my electric bill is what I'm mainly worried about, the heating, because I lived in Texas for 10 years. Now I live in Nebraska. So it's like, ooh, on my budget, I keep it at 64. Period.
Holy Moses.
So 64. You know what? I got blankets and I got 3 socks.
Did you say 64 or 54?
No, 60.
Oh my God! I was going to say, what are you, a polar bear? My heavens!
Yeah, no, you have to keep it above 60.
I was going to say, there's no way, right? Well, I appreciate your call. I appreciate it. Thanks, Eileen in Nebraska.
Thank you.
So 833 WBR show. I'm looking for exactly that. They're not hearing you. They're not paying attention to us. They're laughing off what we're actually suffering through here at their hands, and it's purposeful. Let's get out to Nina in Lancaster. Hi, Nina.
Hi, Wendy. Thank you. I wanted to call and just say I agree totally with what you're saying about the paying that we have to do for 2016. So my husband is in construction, and he does concrete work on these warehouses that are all up and down the I-81 corridor in Pennsylvania and many other states. Not any of those sit empty. I made a trip across the country, halfway across the country. As far as you can see in most instances, and probably 50 to 1 from, if you see one car, you see 50 trucks. My confusion is all we see is empty shelves. All we hear is supply chain issues. But when you're out and about, you don't see that. So I think, like the other people have said, this seems to be so planned, not a coincidence that it happened, just flat out planned.
And planned right now, right before the holiday. Right before, I don't understand. And do you think I'm crazy when I say it feels like a lot of this is retribution?
No, I wholeheartedly agree, because there's really no explanation other than that of how things can spiral downhill so quickly.
And I also think this: there were whispers of inflation well before any of us saw any evidence of it. And it's like sort of like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation planning a pandemic preparedness seminar months before COVID hits America. It's sort of like it's too well orchestrated. That's lining up in such a way that they knew this was going to be the play, and they were preparing for it.
Yes, and not only that, when you failed to scare people to death to where they would comply and stay home, then start attacking them in another way.
You know what?
Take away their goods and services. Take away their ability to go to work. Create something so that these things can't go on.
This is sinister, and it sounds very familiar. I appreciate the call. Thanks so much, Nina. TJ's in Connecticut. Hi, TJ. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Wendy. I'm so glad to talk to you this morning.
Thank you. What's going on?
Hey, listen, I've been a waitress for all my life. And, you know, they say that the wait staff is such a shortage, but it's going to get worse because of all the high prices, that people won't go to the restaurants anymore. A chicken dinner will be $35 before you know it.
I don't disagree with you. The ripple effect of the prices of these goods and services is going to be astronomical. She's absolutely right.
And think about, if you're paying more for your dinner, that means you're going to probably pay less for a tip.
Well, I mean, you only have so much.
You only have so much.
And she's right. Who's actually going to continue to go out? Who's going to have that luxury to do that? TJ, I appreciate that. It's a good point. Pam is in Pennsylvania. Hi, Pam. Welcome to the Wendy Bell Radio program.
Hi. I was just calling about your question yesterday on who will be the vice president, who they would pick. And I think that you missed the point that they said about the House of Representatives. I think that it is going to be Anya Presley.
No way.
She's female, she's black, she's progressive. There you go.
She's crazy, but that might be the point. Ayanna Presley, a member of the squad, who's toxic.
Yep.
Now, what makes you say that? Just because she checks those aforementioned boxes?
Absolutely. And she Yep, every box is checked, and I feel like they cannot replace Kamala with a guy that's white.
Unless they put in Pete Buttigieg, unless they put in a gay man who checks yet another box. I don't know. That's scary, because if you're going to say Ayanna Pressley, you might as well say Alexandria Ocasio. That's just unfortunate. Appreciate the call. Here's Bill in Pittsburgh. Hiya, Bill.
Hey, Wendy. My wife still loves your show.
Well, you should still love my show. And why still? You should always.
Of course. Hey, I believe you're right. I think the left is specifically the progressives. They're making inflation and raising up the prices because day by day, I work construction, and so day by day, my wages are getting less and less. And I think they're trying to increase it so much that when they offer a solution, we're all supposed to be so grateful to them. To get the pain to stop. It's basically they're creating all this confusion and anxiety. And if they offer just a little bit of take it back just a little bit, they're going to be our saviors, they think, and we're going to keep them in power forever.
Let me ask you this, Bill. If you're in construction, and we just heard some sound bites alleging that everybody just stayed home all last year, nobody was working. Were you busy last year?
I worked all through it. I was down there on Smithfield Street. We were working through. I missed maybe 6 days through that whole pandemic.
Didn't seem to impact the number of projects that needed to be done. Funny.
Oh no! All of a sudden we become essential. But as soon as all the work's done, look what I'm doing. I'm sitting there barely making $400 a week, and I can't afford half the stuff anymore.
Holy smokes! Now you're only barely making $400 a week because the jobs aren't there, or because the pay's not there?
Well, no. See, when the job's done, until they get another one or the whole calls you out,
right?
You have to go on unemployment, and that's only $400 a week.
Got it. Ugh. This is so angering. So what is it? Is it that the game plan is to make things uncomfortable? So you're literally broken, begging? Because this is going to happen before inflation actually takes as big a hit as it's going to. And I submit to you, it's going to come at the hands of our truckers. We have 80,000 trucker positions open now. 80,000. One of the most highly regulated industries on planet Earth. 80,000. And we have a president who wants to mandate that these trucking companies with over 100 employees all get vaccinated. And more than 1 in 3 of those truckers say not a chance. They will leave the business before they do that. What do you think is going to happen then? I never thought those doomsday preppers were anything but kind of wacko. But those meals now that hold 2,000 calories that can store for 25 years doesn't sound so wacko anymore. And this is the United States of America. In 10 months, this is what has happened. If you pay for your own health insurance, maybe you're self-employed or a gig worker, excuse me, why is it Tom Yakupin's ads that always choke me up?
Because he has good product.
You were just talking
what he does.
You were just talking about his deductible buster and that it works.
They explained it to me, and I was shocked. Because you hear all these things, and
it sounds like a gimmick.
It does, but
you go to deductiblebuster.com, and it tells you how it can break your deductible and save you money. You're like, what? So I'm going to say this. Tom Yakupin is in the insurance industry. He says he can save you 25 to 50%, oftentimes even more, on the insurance policies you have. You owe it to yourself and to your budget, particularly in these tough financial times, to make sure you're getting the best product at the best price from the best man. He's a friend of ours, Tom Yakupin. 724-230-4500, newerahealthplans.com. Check out that website, New Era, E-R-A, healthplans.com to learn more. He's outstanding no matter where you live. All right, we're going to step aside more of your phone calls, 833-WBR show, when we come back.
Oh, yeah. That's no gimmick either. Me saying I talked to Tom's people yesterday.
Right.
She said what it did, and I had to excuse my French to her. I was like, well, why would it? Doesn't make sense to take, because I was talking to her about, I know if I have a higher deductible, my rate will be lower. The higher the deductible, the rate is lower. And she's like, correct. And I said, well, what's deductiblebuster.com? And she's like, oh, well, because it came out during Obamacare. Tom told me this because I texted him to say thank you. And he said, yeah, we had to bring that out during Affordable Care Act because people, sure, they were having this insurance, but they couldn't afford when they went to the hospital. And for how much it costs extra, it's almost like car gap insurance. But, I said, well, if I'm paying this much and have to have $7,500 out of pocket, well, I'm going to pay a little extra. And I don't know. I thought it was fantastic. She's in the process of putting packages together for me.
That's amazing.
But it's not cheap. It's not cheap. So any way you can work around the system with deductible busters, it's this is fantastic. Way to go, radio, your name. Rachel. State or PA? Okay, hold on. I still think it's ridiculous that my drugs that I take cost more when I had insurance than when I just went with the Gord RX. I couldn't believe it.
It's such a ripoff.
Here we go.
All right, back out to the phones. Let's check in with Robin in Pittsburgh. Hi, Robin. Welcome to the Wendy Bell Radio program.
Hi, Wendy. Nice to talk to you.
You too.
So I have a theory about how all of this fits in together, right?
Oh, tell me.
Companies are forcing employees to get jabbed, right? They're saying if you don't do it, you're going to quit. Prices are rising. Build Back Better. They're going to have to figure out, well, it's not actually free. So they're going to cut unemployment so people can't quit their jobs.
Wait a minute. Walk me through that. Say it again.
Right? So companies are forcing employees to get the jab. If
Sure.
they don't, they're saying that they're voluntarily quitting, right? Which is why it's important to make them fired.
Right? So then they're not entitled to the benefits. So then their back is up against the wall, and so that you realize that you have no dough until you get the jab, and that's disgusting. And I think you're probably on this. Isn't that gross?
You just create a black market with that.
Yeah, it's exactly what this is. And yet we know this virus under the age of 50 is 99 point something percent survivable. Over the age of, 70 is 95% survivable. It's ridiculous. What on earth? Well, you just made me a little sick to my stomach, but I appreciate your call. Thank you so very much. Right? Let's get out to Rachel in Indiana. Hello, Rachel. Welcome.
Hello. Love your show, Wendy. Listen to you every day.
Thank you.
I was the one that said you need the unfabulous shirt.
There you go. Thank you so much.
Well, I live in a small town in northern Indiana, and you know what? My house, we didn't stop working at all. My husband does steel construction. He's still going strong. I work at a credit union, and we have tons of RV factories out here. Nothing has stopped.
Right. I wonder, in what world are these people living to purport that we were all in some kind of deep slumber? We were hibernating in 2020, and then we all of a sudden emerge, right? I don't remember.
I went every day to work. I wore my mask. My kids don't have to wear masks, thankfully, this year. But I still got COVID last year, and we bounced back just fine.
Right. I hear you.
Everyone wants $15 an hour. I've had to work up to make that.
Well,
so I know if I started my job now, someone coming in right now is probably making more than me.
Right.
And you gave fake news.
Why?
If you remember, you worked more during COVID.
Oh, yeah, because I had to work every other Saturday.
Right.
That's true. Right?
Yeah.
Huh.
I work almost every Saturday, yeah.
Right? Rachel, I appreciate your time today. Thank you very much from Indiana. Tom is in Florida, basking in the glow of warmth and Ron DeSantis. Hi, Tom. How are you?
Wendy, I'm doing great, and I was so happy to hear that you have a place somewhere here in Florida. I'm calling you from Palm Beach, which is, of course, the southern portion of Florida. Where are you?
Oh, no. I don't live there. I cyber dream about the house I'm going to buy there when I retire. Or at least in a couple of years. You go for it.
All right. So I'll tell you what we have going here in Florida. Tallahassee, of course, is our capital. And we have a special session that Governor DeSantis has put into place. It started on Monday. Some good news is that there has been a law on the books here in Florida since Jeb Bush used to be the governor. It's never been enforced. The law has never been activated, but it actually has been on the books, and it's going to be repealed. I think it may have been repealed as of yesterday or today, which would actually permit, in a state of emergency, the government to come and forcibly inject you with the vaccination. And that law has, thank God, been repealed or will be repealed any moment now. The bad news, of course, is that here in Florida, for whatever reason, the legislature, which is in special session right now, is refusing to even bring up the subject or the topic of authorizing a full forensic audit of what took place in our state here.
You know what? And I'm sorry I'm up against a hard break here, Tom, but I hear what you're saying. I need to keep fighting for that until we have election integrity. We don't have our freedom, ladies and gentlemen. More right after this on the Wendy Bell Radio program.
Are you looking?
Isn't it a shame that we have to think like this? We have to think that they're doing this on purpose. And how many conspiracy theories from last year have become true? Like a lot of these vaccine passports. The vaccines were going to be mandatory. Republicans have been shouting this. This is where they want. This is where they're going. Even Joe Biden, we can't make them. We will never make vaccines mandated. Well, here they are. So, were they conspiracy theories? You called all us who said this is a slippery slope we're on. You called us all nuts. Democrats and liberals called us nuts. It's a real sad world when the truth becomes a conspiracy theory. Scares me. Really does. I mean, there's guys out there that used to do shows and, InfoWars. I always thought he was crazy. I don't know. He's been right a lot more than he's been wrong. It just makes you wonder. I think for the longest time we just took what they told us because I think we're trusting people by nature. But now, if you critical think at all, everything looks like a conspiracy theory, and it's not really a conspiracy theory. It just takes longer for the truth to come out. I don't know how anybody on the left right now says this is what I signed up for. Wendy says it a lot when she says, who are these 40% the approval rating for Joe Biden? Who are these 40% of people? I don't know who signs up for higher prices. I don't know who signs up for mandates. Can you imagine if Donald Trump mandated a vaccine? Holy cow. There would be rioting in the streets because of that. I mean, and that's prime example is them Kamala saying, I'll never get this with Donald Trump's fingerprints all over it. Now they're forcing it on you. That's the one thing I can say that I'm happy with my boss is that I'm not being forced to do anything other than show up for work. I think it's going to become a nanny state. I think that's what they're looking at. How much of the money, because we always say follow the money, and we have that one coming up if she sticks to the script.
Which
if
one?
She sticks to this. Wait till
Yeah,
you hear
I
the next
know.
story. No?
No, I will.
Oh, you're not audibling?
No, I'm not going to punt.
This is what we do at 4:00 in the morning.
Super sexy, isn't it?
Yeah. We live such exciting lives. I get up, I feed the dogs, grab a cup of coffee, sit down, open up the stream. Most of the time you scare the hell out of me because our stream is a tab. So, I have multiple tabs open at different websites. Well, all she has to do is turn me on, and if I'm not looking at that tab at the time, I'm looking at reading the story and hey, and just thankfully yet she has not done it while I was drinking coffee yet. I might have just sabotaged myself.
Mm-mm.
All right. Hour and a half.
Wow, you sound like you just want to get through it. I enjoy these 3 hours. Why are you trying to hit
You
fast
like me that
forward?
much? Wow.
I was looking back in my notebook. I have a binder and I keep a lot of scribbles in there, a lot of ideas, do some charts. Things end up on the BS board. A lot of stuff doesn't. It's just kind of me looking over what's going on and trying to put together the picture of insanity. But one thing I know about this Democratic Party, while I fundamentally disagree with almost everything they do and stand for, I will never tell you they're disorganized. I think they are years ahead. I think there is a long-term plan here. And I think the long-term plan has an awful lot to do with grossly expanding the size of government. And as prior callers had mentioned, bringing us to our knees and making us reliant on government goods and services. Look, the last time I checked, there's nothing the government has managed that's ended up well, ever. Look at what's happened with just silly things. The USPS, the shirts, the mugs, the tumblers, the whatever we have sold on the Wendy Bell Radio Network app that has been packaged, it has been dropped off at the post office, it has been scanned, and it is sitting there. Now, this is the same United States Postal Service that has been bailed out to the tune of billions and billions of dollars. Why can't they get your mail where it needs to be in a reasonable amount of time? Because the federal government is in charge. The bureaucracy, the bloated numbers of people doing God knows what, never any accountability. So we're just going to make things even bigger. 87,000 more IRS agents. Was a good idea? Never. However, I happen to think that the central nervous system of the lion's share of evil in this country, and I actually have it here on this scribble that I made. I wrote it down. The playbook of evil. Taking pleasure in the hurtful domination and control of others. Isn't that what we're experiencing? A playbook of evil? Taking pleasure in the hurtful domination and control of others. And who do I put there in the focus? Not Tony Fauci. He's a player. Bill Gates. I think you have one of the richest men in the world who has used his wealth in such a way to not just control the narrative, but to control humanity. So I was thinking about this. If you inflate the number of COVID deaths, you exaggerate the danger, you ignore all reports of vaccine deaths, you refuse any early treatment, this is where we are. It's all about the vaccine, right? It's all about forcing everyone to get whatever's in this liquid into our bodies, not just here, but all across planet Earth. We've never seen anything this concerted in our lives. Not with AIDS, not with world hunger, not with Ebola, Zika, MERS. This very specific thing that happened to take place in a lab, and let's just be honest about this, we all know. It was born in a lab that has Bill Gates, Anthony Fauci, the NIH, the NIAID, the FDA, the CDC's fingerprints all over it. I believe that COVID-19 was created to vastly increase the wealth of a select number of individuals. And that if it kills you and everyone you love, that's just the collateral damage. That is a sinister thing to believe. Every dot I've seen along this trail points me back to that. There's a reason why globalists want to take down first world countries like Canada, the UK, Australia, and America. Because there is a democracy. There are rules and laws, and not the same in third world countries, second world countries, etc. We are a danger. We have become intoxicated by this whole notion that we are free. They want to erase that. Globalists want to own everything. They want to be the richest. They want to own all of the information. Bill Gates has made it abundantly clear with his gift giving that he has the ability and in fact does control the lion's share of the information on planet Earth. Why is it that in 2010, Bill Gates, this was January 29th of 2010, why was it 11 years ago that Bill Gates announced that 2010, this decade, would be the decade of vaccines? Foreshadowing, foreboding, or planned? Why is it that Bill Gates has collaborated so tightly with the World Health Organization, UNICEF, which by the way is the United Nations, the NIAID, Fauci? $10 billion they pledged over 10 years to implement a global vaccine action plan. It's almost as though things are introduced into society so that we need to be saved by it or from it. And alas, he holds the magic elixir. So I found this, which I find particularly disturbing. Conflict of interest. Bill Gates gave $319 million to major media outlets, documents reveal. According to Mint Press News, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation donated at least $319 million to fund media projects at hundreds of organizations, including CNN, NBC, NPR, PBS, and The Atlantic, raising questions about those news outlets' ability to report objectively on Gates and his work. No, this doesn't just raise flags. When you have flailing ratings, dwindling advertising dollars, and super overpriced anchors and overhead, and Bill Gates swoops in with a check for $8 or $10 million and puts you back on stable ground, are you going to be likely to investigate his relation to Jeffrey Epstein? Are you going to do any real stories on what's really happening with his global vaccination plan? Not a chance. Not a chance. Up until his recent messy divorce, Bill Gates enjoyed something of a free pass in corporate media, generally presented as a kindly nerd who wants to save the world. The Microsoft co-founder was even unironically christened Saint Bill by The Guardian. Guess how much they get from him? While other billionaires' media empires are relatively well known, the extent to which Gates' cash underwrites the modern media landscape is not. After sorting through over 30,000 individual grants, Mint Press can reveal that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has made over $300 million worth of donations to fund media projects. Recipients of this cash include many of America's most important news outlets, as I just told you, including CNN, NBC, NPR, PBS. Why are we giving money to NPR and public broadcasting? Why do our stimulus CARES package involve tens of millions of dollars to fund these people? Because that's where the propaganda goes. That's where it spreads through those channels. Remember, these are the news operations that purport to be moderate. There's nothing moderate. It's called liberal activism, progressivism. Gates also sponsors a myriad of influential foreign organizations, including the BBC, The Guardian, aforementioned, the Financial Times, and the Daily Telegraph in the UK. Prominent European newspapers such as Le Monde in France, Der Spiegel in Germany, and El País, sorry, that's Spanish. It's the country, sorry. In Spain, as well as big global broadcasters like Al Jazeera. Interesting. At least he's equal opportunity with his billions. The Gates Foundation money goes towards media programs the Gates Foundation money going towards media programs has been split up into a number of sections presented in descending numerical order and includes a link to the relevant grant on the organization's website. This is a phenomenal source. I'm going to give it to Jason and we'll get it up today because it's too good. Mint Press.
I couldn't believe it when you sent it to me last night.
Listen to this. Awards directly to media outlets. How much money, Brock, do you think to NPR? National Public Radio. Anything that Bill Gates has his fingers on is going to be dirty. How much do you think?
A couple hundred.
Million?
No.
Couple 100,000?
Yeah.
24 million.
I was close.
$663,066. $24 million to NPR. The Guardian, which called him St. Bill, how much did they pay or get paid for that? How about $12 million? $951,391. And I'm just getting started. CNN, the Daily Telegraph, Financial Times, Texas Tribune, The Atlantic, ProPublica, PBS, Gannett. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And these news operations try to pretend that they're objective. They try to pretend that they're worthy of your viewership or your reading. Please. Wait until we dig into the next chapter on this. Dr. Richard Rafferty and the Disc Institute of Pittsburgh, when you make an appointment to sit down with Dr. Rafferty and he looks over your films, I don't know if it's an X-ray or if it's an MRI, probably both, he can tell you in that consultation, before you even spend a penny, if he can help you and solve your bulging, herniated, and degenerative disc problem. I mean, imagine that. I want to help you, he says. Let's see if I can do that. What makes the Disc Institute of Pittsburgh so different, though, is that they're not surgeons. They're healers, right? They have something called intradisc neutrosis. It is non-surgical. It is 98% successful. People get their lives back, and he helps your discs heal naturally. If that sounds like something that's interesting to you, and I sure would think it would be, 412-906-9600. 412-906-9600, PittsburghDiscInstitute.com. All right, when we come back, I'm going to dig through a little bit more of the dark, dirty, financial, secretive tales of Bill Gates financing your media, and not just here in America, globally. Is that a problem? You're listening to the Wendy Bell Radio program. Thank you. It's so dirty.
And for people who think
it's so dirty,
it's just Bill Gates and the rich, that's false too. Because Kate quit her job over they worked on a story, and a reporter for 2 weeks, and it got squashed without even getting listened to.
Oh yeah. That was my proposal to do a story on UPMC.
Right, by a local company that they said no. And
they're an advertiser.
Right. She tried to say, hey, this is down the road. It doesn't. She's like, if you listen to it, you can tell it's not bad or good for you. It's just informative. And they said, no, we don't care. We'll pull our advertising. Which, let me tell you, if someone says we'll pull our advertising, that means your story's done. And she quit. She quit the next day.
I get it.
I do too.
I think it would be, I feel very sorry because there are journalists out there that do give
with
a darn.
People with integrity, yeah.
There are journalists out there, and I do paint with a broad brush. But I remember hearing Rush Limbaugh talk about the media, and I'd be like, wait a minute.
Right, you kind of get offended because, like, when I'm sitting down there with all my friends, and they'll be like, oh, well, he's in the media. I'm like, oh, easy now. I actually read.
I'm not in the media, actually. Well, if you think about it, I guess we are.
We are, but we're not reading teleprompters.
Everything I'm doing is scripted, which is why I never make any mistakes.
Right.
Said me never.
Here we go.
My friends Matt and Lauren Krupp are excited to tell you about the holidays that are gearing up at their very super cool place called the Battlegrounds. Also, show me your hobbies. Their hobby shop is loaded with the latest RC cars and trucks, boats, crawlers, and more. Grab one for yourself. Go with a gift card maybe for that RC or airsoft enthusiast in your life. If you want even more excitement, the Battlegrounds is ready to host your private birthday party, corporate holiday party, or any other celebration. From Nerf and to airsoft to bow tag and rivals, the activities are endless at the Battlegrounds. They're going to have extended holiday season hours for open play sessions, but you got to register. Easy to do so. Go online, thebattlegroundspa.com, or call 412-530-2192. Don't just play the game, be the game at the Battlegrounds. All right, so let's follow the money a little bit more as we're picking up this story that's digging into 30,000 different financial documents with links to it. And like I said, I'm going to have Jason put this up on the Wendy Bell Radio Network app. If you've not downloaded that, please do. It is free. It's got all sorts of great information for you to double check stuff. All right, let's see. Also, let's see what else Bill Gates has given money to. NBC Universal Media, $4,373,000. The BBC, $3,668,000. CNN, $3,600,000. This is so offensive. It is such a ridiculous conflict. Wow. KCET, $3,500,000. The Daily Telegraph, $3.4 million. The Financial Times, $2.3 million. The Atlantic, $1.4 million. Minnesota Public Radio. Anything that says public radio is called propaganda for the left's progressive arm. Trust me. $1.2 million. Al Jazeera and ProPublica, $1 million each. PBS. I didn't get a lot, just $500,000. Aw. Gannett.
They don't need much. They get ours.
Facts. Gannett, $500,000. Inside Higher Ed, $439,000. It goes on and on. New York Public Radio, they kind of just got $77,000. I'm sure they're irked about this. Together, all of those donations total $166 million. The money generally directed towards issues close to the Gates' hearts. Oh, like ruling the world, sticking syringes in everybody's arms, you know, things like that.
Making money on tests to test if they should stick you in the arm.
I love this. Oh, for example, the $3.6 million CNN grant went towards reporting on gender equality with a particular focus on least developed countries, producing journalism on the everyday inequalities endured by women and girls across the world. See, it's just getting people to bicker, to be victims, to be whatever. This is what he does. Excuse me. Still coughing here. All right, let's see what else. What else has he done? The Gates Foundation has also given nearly $63 million to charities closely aligned with big media outlets, including nearly $53 million to BBC Media Action.
It makes you wonder how Big Bird got interviewed on CNN. Maybe because Bill gave money to both.
Well, now there's that. Also, $9 million to MTV's Staying Alive Foundation and $1 million to the New York Times Neediest Causes Fund. Gates continues to underwrite wait. How about schools? Journalism programs. Because it's one thing to infiltrate the airwaves and the printing presses. It's another thing to infiltrate minds of mush. How about, let's see, I got to scroll down. How about $1.8 million to Johns Hopkins, $1.4 million to Columbia University's Teachers College, $767,000 to Cal Berkeley. Oh, here's $450,000 to the Tsinghua University in China, $414,000 to Seattle University. It goes on and on and on, ladies and gentlemen. So all told, $319.4 million. Anything this man touches, we should question. And it raises this conversation I had with a very liberal family member I have, who asked me, how much money is enough money? Talking about the rich, etc. And I was like, well, it's not really my place to say who gets what and how. But honestly, if I'm going to apply her logic, for Bill Gates, how much money is enough money? Because you're trying to influence the entire planet. The entire planet with a narrative that you planned more than a decade ago, the decade of vaccines. And you've infiltrated places of education, thought provokers, journalists, editors. Ugh. I gotta say, I'm somewhat pleased by this OSHA pushback now. We're going to talk about what that means to the Biden jab mandate and how truckers may just hold the key to saving America. Coming up next on the Wendy Bell Radio program. I gotta say, it is a real struggle to cough when you have a profession that makes you talk for a living. Oh, it's the worst. I can feel it coming too, you know, when you feel like you're gonna choke. I thought he was coming in here. I'm like, don't come in here. I don't want to have these feelings about them purposely trying to hurt us with this jab, but if you connect the dots, it's hard to not think that's the case.
Sorry, I was trying not to leave you hanging. When you start coughing, I jump in.
No, I appreciate it.
I don't think people. No, let me rephrase that. I hope people understand that there's a lot of people out there when Bill Gates gives that type of money that continue to get a job. The photogs, the editors, the people you never see So it's a double-edged sword. You give him a lot of power, but I don't think he should be involved in the media at all. But he scares me.
Bill Gates predicted the pandemic in 2015. So just let that sit in your head for a minute.
Well, anyone who watches the History Channel, if you ever get a chance to watch Men Who Built America, this has been going on since the beginning of
Unmute. I don't know why it's not coming up with a picture though. And I'm not sure what to do. It's on mine now.
Okay. Hopefully this works, guys.
Yeah.
On the right camera.
Yeah, I think so. That's odd. It says when I took it off the thing, it said it was on mute. Just peculiar because I wasn't touching it. Technology is great. It's like Waze. Waze is great until it hoses you.
until it says rerouting,
Yeah,
and you're
like, no,
oh no, I got to turn
exit?
right here.
Mm-hmm. What other sound do we have that we didn't use? We have Bill Malugin from Fox News.
I think that's it.
Is that it?
Oh no, we got the trucking guy.
Oh, that's right.
Which when you guys hear his audio, that's just that was mind blowing when I heard that.
How long is it?
It's a little over a minute.
Okay.
Well, of course it looks good and sounds good now. I'm on frame.
So no updates on the Rittenhouse?
Since all my devices are in use.
No, I know. That was silly of me. Sorry about that. Let's see what I can find.
I would check if I could. No, Wendy didn't mess it up. Come on.
I'll take responsibility.
No. You know, when the phone does something, there's really nothing we can do. You know, there's really nothing you can do except go and try to troubleshoot it. Thank you, Leah. I know I have beautiful blue eyes.
Oh my.
It's the only thing I can say that I have going for me, to be honest with you. I used to get yelled at by my mother because I would get stopped, and always by women, and say, your son has beautiful eyes. And if I didn't say thank you, I would get slapped.
Wow. That says a lot.
About what?
None.
Oh, no. Please inform people.
No.
This is the back.
No. It says a lot.
Here we go.
Five, four, three, two, one. Using facts to take on the woke politicians, triggered leftists, and the corporate media.
You just got to try harder not to suck.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, you're listening to the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back, everybody. You are listening to the Wendy Bell radio program. I am trying to slug through what feels like postnasal drip. I know it's a great visual, but every now and again, I have to stop, take a sip of water, and not gag all over you. So please, my apologies in advance of that. A small victory. I think it's great that 26 attorneys general have joined together to push back against what is completely illegal and unconstitutional in this Biden vaccine mandate. 3 of those states represented are Democrat states. Amazing, because your liberty, your freedom, your bodily autonomy should not care how you vote. But in this weird political discourse today, everything is intimately connected to politics. This is definitely worth celebrating. OSHA suspends enforcement of COVID-19 vaccine mandate for large businesses. A small victory. Ladies and gentlemen, I've said it before and I will say it again. There has been no better time than now to be an attorney. The lawsuits that are going to come out against business, against colleges and universities, against the airlines. So while we cannot sue the federal government, we cannot sue Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson for anything that may go sideways with the jab, which in and of itself makes things very suspicious. You can sue your boss, who puts the proverbial gun to your head and says, get it or get out. And if you do get the jab, and you do become one of the more than 1 million Americans thus far who's had an ill effect that at least has been reported to the vaccine adverse event reporting system, you should have a recourse to sue the liver out of the man or the woman in charge who decided to say to you, you must get it. So OSHA suspending this enforcement of the vaccine mandate for large businesses for now, definitely triumphant. I will say to you or read to you what this means. OSHA is abiding by a court order and suspending enforcement of the Biden administration's COVID-19 vaccine mandate on large private businesses. In a statement shared to OSHA's website, the agency said, quote, the court ordered that OSHA take no steps to implement or enforce the testing emergency temporary standard until further court order. The agency said it remains confident in its authority to protect workers in emergencies. Would you guys define COVID as an emergency anymore? Is this an emergency? So OSHA needs to protect workers in times of emergency. That's not this. Isn't every decision they've made been just a gross overreach? Extrapolating something that's somewhat legal and expanding it into this umbrella that it ought not be a part of. The suspension comes after the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit upheld a stay on the mandate. In response to the court's decision, the Department of Justice says it will vigorously defend the rules laid out by OSHA. OSHA had originally given employers with more than 100 employees a January 4th deadline to comply with Biden's COVID-19 vaccine mandate and threatened thousands of dollars in fines for defiant businesses. You know, nothing says kumbaya, I love you, I represent you, like making you do something you fundamentally don't want to do. So that is a victory for you want to talk about a ripple effect? The American Trucking Association president noted that if just 3.7%, not 37%, just 10% of that, 3.7% of the drivers left the industry, there would be over 250,000 vacancies, resulting in a catastrophic collapse of the U.S. supply chain. Catastrophic collapse. Mr. Spear also shared his opinion that the OSHA rule is completely unworkable and unlawful. Now, the consequences certainly are grave if just 3.7% did not work. However, if 10 times that many, 37% of truck drivers stopped hauling products because of the Biden vaccine requirement, I want you to think about that. Think about that. They have to know. I want you to hear this sound now. This is sound from the American Trucking Association president, Chris Spear, who lays it out on the line.
We're talking about how the drivers would feel about a vaccine mandate. What kind of reactions are you getting from them on that? Just all of them required for a vaccine to do business?
Yeah, and I want to be clear and qualify this, that this isn't about being pro or anti-vax for us. We've been moving the vaccine, PPE and test kits. So this is something our industry is very forward leaning on. But in our sample survey of our fleets, it came back as 37% of our drivers not only said no, but hell no. Now let's just take a conservative number. Let's just say 3.7%, not 37%, were to actually leave rather than get the vaccine. That'd be catastrophic. We're already short 80,000. That's going to inflate it to 250,000. So for us, we've tried to be very clear with the administration that if you do this, I understand the logic behind it, but if you do this, these are the consequences. So if you're trying to solve the supply chain problem, you're actually compounding it and actually hurting the very problem that you're trying to fix on the vaccine side. So, be careful what you wish for here. I also don't think, Congressman, that OSHA has the jurisdiction to do this.
Facts. Absolutely correct. Now, it's important to note that a recent NBC poll on this issue, amid the outlook of the vaccine mandates, shows that a majority of the country does not support these mandates. Duh. And worse still, the number of unvaccinated workers is essentially unwavering in the past 6 weeks. So they're telling us these mandates work. More and more people are getting it. Well, it's interesting. If you do math and you take the number of people who've decided to walk off the job rather than get the vaccine, and so their numbers are out of your equation, of course it's going to look like more and more people are getting vaccinated because those are the only people left behind. It's all the fuzzy math. The number of Americans who willingly quit their jobs increased to 4.3 million in August and then again increased to 4.4 million in September. People are not messing around, ladies and gentlemen. The number of cumulative hard no's has gone from 26% of the workforce in August to 27% hard no's among the workforce, not just trucking. And I like this article because it says this: we are down to the hardened group, an educated and solid bunch of people who use common sense, and they're not going to take the forced vaccination. In quantifiable terms, the increased pressure to force the jab into the arms of the American workforce has now crossed into the law of diminishing returns. More government pressure ain't going to yield the previous level of compliance. This threshold crossed is also quantifiable in the Americans who quit working. Like we said, that record high 4.4 million people, or 3% of the American workforce, quit their jobs in September. It's fascinating. It's fascinating to think that the people of yesterday, nurses and Walmart workers, people who stocked the shelves so we could get the products, and the doctors, the heroes of yesterday, right, who've been kicked to the curb now if they don't comply. I think what's really going to hinge on things turning around and this administration realizing that it is not a monarchy, is for truckers and other people who've worked the entirety of this quote unquote pandemic, the truckers, to say, ain't happening. And if you want to play, you're going to suffer. That's going to be the end game. Bruce Freshwater at Sierra Experts is an expert when it comes to information technology. What he does is he owns a business that's a managed service provider. Now, Bruce is a veteran, and he has some of the smartest people on his team. And what they are good at, I mean, they are the best: website design, digital marketing, custom-made software development, network monitoring, even backup and disaster recovery. Their engineers apply advanced, deep knowledge of IT systems, taking proactive steps to help your website run the way it should. If you're not happy with the way your website looks or how it functions, the people, quote unquote, in charge of it, you need to call Bruce. He'll take a look at it, give you some pointers. You'll love him, and he can work within your budget, no matter where you live in the United States. 412-379-8333. 412-379-8333. Check out their testimonials at sierraexperts.com. I just choked on this as I was reading it. Really? Do you think Jen Psaki is right that Kamala Harris is a victim of sexism? I have to read this to you guys. You're going to laugh out loud. You deserve a little Thursday laughter. And it's coming up next on the Wendy Bell Radio program. So what was going on there?
The phone just shut off, and so I didn't have to take it out. I spun it, and I put it in, so it's this way. So it's harder to get the headphones on the way so you can see a little bit of the headphones, but It's fine. It wasn't plugged in, so it shut off from non-use.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So that's why I plugged it in. And then what happened is I had to facial recognition it.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry, you guys got a lot of me in that one. Going back to the truckers thing.
It's fascinating. I think it's fascinating.
I'm worried what will happen. When they don't deliver stuff.
Right.
I mean, we talked about that before.
Well, how about medical supplies? How about things that are
diapers?
Life and death stuff. Diapers. You're right.
I mean, just the stuff that you need every day.
I don't disagree with you. I think that's well said.
God, if we need anything, we need toothpaste. Everybody be walking around with nasty breath. And with this administration, if they can't deliver the bourbons and the scotches and the beers, how are we going to get through?
It's amazing they always manage to find all of the things like that. The booze, or at least make it available. What places didn't shut down during the beginning of this? All of the state stores and the liquor stores.
I have a cat. Bad breath, get a cat. I have a cat.
Why? What does a cat do for you?
I don't know. I guess cats have bad breath. He doesn't, so I don't know.
Murphy
they have
does.
teeth. They have teeth. Well, that's because every time I'm there, he's licking himself. He's always got his head buried in his crotch.
That's disgusting. Why did you have to take me there? I'm already drippy. I don't need to feel sick.
Ew.
It's that licking sound that's so disgusting. Now, I'm like, I'll throw something at him so he'll stop. Nothing hard.
Throw him down the stairs.
No, I'll throw like one of his toys at him.
Take him to HR. Throw him down the stairs.
I'll throw his floppy beaver at him. You don't have a floppy beaver? They're awesome.
No, I don't.
They're awesome.
I don't have a floppy beaver.
We have a floppy beaver.
I have an alligator and a stuffed bear, but no floppy beaver. Anything.
Okay. Before I tell you about Jen Psaki speaking at a women rule event, can we just stop it? Can we please just stop it? Why do we have to have a women rule event? Honest to God. Women know that we hold a pivotal role in this world. I don't need you to pat me on the back and tell me I'm extraordinary. I know I am. You were waiting for that to drop.
You're fabulous. You're
fabulous. Look, this is ridiculous. That Jen Psaki feels that she needs to speak out and go up against she says this, speaking at a Politico, which by the way gets funded by how much by Bill Gates? At a Politico women rule event. If I was there, I'd be so uncomfortable. I remember when I was pregnant in TV, there were 4 other women in the newsroom who were pregnant. It was my first pregnancy. My doctor encouraged me to go take Lamaze classes. I came home to Joe and I said, I cannot handle being around any more women. I do not want to take Lamaze. He said, thank you, God. Right? We don't need to tell each other we're all awesome. Yay. No, knock it off. Speaking at a Politico women rule event, Psaki claimed right-wingers unfairly target Kamala Harris due to her status as the first woman and the first woman of color for vice president. Does that have anything to do with why you don't respect or admire Kamala Harris? She's awful. Maybe she's been set up to be awful. I don't think they could have possibly given her a bigger job to fail at than to give her the border czarship, which is just preposterous anyway. Creating a stupid label, border czar, is as dumb as a women's rule event. Women rule event. Come on. Let's get out of the mulch, out of the play box, out of the sandbox, out of the playground. Let's act like adults. Let's do adult things. Kamala, you're awful. You were awful when you only gained, 1%, if even that, which is what Joe Biden garnered back in the 80s, before his plagiarism came out. You're not likable. There's something very cold about you. I'm sorry. It's just the way it goes. It's not because you're black. I would say the lion's share of America would get behind you if you had something worthwhile to share. And you're black. Why can't your gender, your sexual identity, your race, any of these box-checking goods, why can't those be icing on the cake? Why can't you just fundamentally, your cake, be just good ideas? Good, honest, hardworking person. Oh, and it happens to be that they're also such and such. Why do we have to say that it's right-wingers who don't like Kamala Harris? I don't think anybody does. And I think that was the point. Put her in a position as a placeholder. Play the Monopoly game, move pieces around as the case might be. I don't see Joe Biden lasting but another 6 months. I was watching some video of him yesterday. He was at some plant. He walked around in a daze. He had the body language of complete confusion. As though he didn't know. I remember watching my grandparents walk like this. It's not funny. It's cautious. It's almost oblivious.
They had a blue dot for him to stand on. You got to stand on the blue dot. Oh, okay, the blue dot.
Right? And meanwhile, back here in reality, we've got serious problems. So this is not, we can't continue like this. This is not survivable. Other countries know that we're weak. Can you imagine what would happen if there was another attack on our country? Can you imagine? Who would lead us? What kind of leadership would there be? I shudder to think. I shudder to think, and I should silence myself before I beg your pardon. When we come back, the sweetheart of a deal for illegal immigrants you might not know the dollars and cents of, but we dug it up. Don't miss it. Coming up next on the Wendy Bell Radio program. Hi.
Is that the sound you were talking about when he was at the plant, when they're like, you have to go stand on the blue dot? He's like, oh, okay.
But
I'll
I mean,
go stand on the blue dot.
even beyond what he was saying, his body, how he was walking.
He was shuffling.
He was shuffling, and then it's sort of like this rigid, it's sort of like how he was in the CNN town hall, where he had his hands like this.
Right.
It's like, it's all telltale signs.
And for the people that saying, I think your name is Chris, she's not black. You're in the weeds with that, my man. Like,
I'm just saying,
whatever, person of color, whatever you want to call it. So what?
I'm just saying that you have to sink or swim.
Right, it has nothing to do
on
with
your
that.
own.
Right.
you know, if I don't do well at this job, should I blame it that people were unfair to me because I was a woman? I mean, really? I think I'm going to use that as an opportunity. There aren't that many female conservative talk show hosts. So rather than sit here, nor do I feel like there's some glass ceiling I need to break through. You know, nor do I want to be the next Laura Ingraham.
Why
or
would you?
like I don't want to be anybody else. I'm not trying to.
That was the compliment I gave you yesterday.
Oh, I didn't hear it.
Yes.
That I was not the next Laura Ingraham.
No.
Okay.
There's no glass ceiling, essentially. Like in 23 years, I thought of working with a lot of people from where I worked at who were quote unquote legends and the best ever. They have plaques up of them that you're better than all of them.
Oh, that's nice.
You know, and it has nothing to do with you had to ruin it. Has nothing to do with I believe in this forum. This has nothing to do with which bathroom you use, right? It has nothing to do. You either have ideas, almost like government. You either have ideas and you're able to convey them, or you don't. In this forum, and I think a lot of it too, and with this is the same thing. The reason I think this has succeeded from the get-go was you're authentic. You're honest with people. That's not what they get from Kamala Harris. The strange cackles, the strange interactions with kids, the strange interactions with other human beings. Like, it shouldn't be a stretch for you to just say, hey, how's it going? Or talk to kids. It's not a stretch to talk to kids. Probably smarter than she is.
I don't know. I'm not a fan of hers, but
I'm not a fan of hers either.
Blaming that is.
Morning, Kelly. Kelly's listening.
Morgan.
Yes.
Right on. I'm a big Morgan's Fitness fan.
So
ooh, that's my next read too.
Everyone knows what tomorrow is. I've seen some emails pop up. Bad Joke Friday. And I think we need a lot of jokes this week.
Oh, man.
I mean, a lot. So WBRBrock@gmail.com. WBRBrock@gmail.com.
Well, I will be grateful when the week is over because hopefully that will give me Saturday. Hopefully that'll give me Saturday and Sunday to get my shizzle back and not sound like this. Do you know what I ate yesterday for the first time in a long time and it was good?
A bagel that I got you?
No.
Oh.
A cup of noodles. You don't like cup of noodles? That's
It's
anti-American.
No, it's the same as ramen noodles.
No, it's not. You put some Red Hot in it.
Like, I had to eat ramen noodles in college, and I'm not on the cross, but like I had to extremely work a budget in college, and it's like potato soup. I lived off potato soup of a can, and I mean, if I saw it today, and there's a lot of people out there that at some point in their life ate something so much, if they see it again, potato soup in a can, I'll throw you down the steps. You ever tried to give it to me? WBR Brock. W as in Wendy Bell Radio. WBR Brock @gmail.com.
Oh, Glenn, I missed you. He was saying thanks for your sponsorship of Wendy Bell Radio. I don't know who he was referring to, but that was nice. Last half hour.
Here we go. Yeah, half hour.
Welcome back, everybody. My goodness, down to the last half hour. Brock is celebrating. That's hurtful. So I do that a lot. I say, so. I just noticed that.
And brilliant.
No, I don't say that anymore. You say, let's be honest. I was a part of a really cool film project last year during the shutdown. And I had an unusual position as a talk show host, a female conservative talk show host. There aren't that many of us out there, which I think is a wonderful opportunity for people like me, moms, common sense people, to share common sense ideas that really aren't difficult to wrap your mind around, because we actually live in very uncommon times. But every day during the beginning of the pandemic, and this really was the beginning of the birth of the BS board, it's how it was born, I had some questions. There were so many things we were being told during these coronavirus task force briefings. And I had been on the air in the afternoon drive slot, so 3 to 6. And it was invariably 5 o'clock that Vice President Pence and Deborah Birx and Fauci and et cetera, oftentimes Trump, would come out and they would have a press conference. So we never knew when it was going to hit. So you had to have 3 hours of content ready to go. But they could come at 5. They could come at 5:45. They could just not show up. You just had to roll the dice, right? So we were captive, listening to every single coronavirus task force meeting. And I'd listen to it on my way home in the car. And a discerning mind starts paying attention and asking questions. Like, this doesn't make sense. This is peculiar. I don't disagree with shutting things down for a while, temporary. The way it was supposed to be. 15 days, not 9 months. So we started writing things down on the BS board. And that's where the focus of so many of my questions about the handling of this quote-unquote pandemic came into focus. Because when you write things down and you see things, and you've got a pen in your hand, and you can draw arrows, and you can say, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. You start to see a bigger picture. And I started to see the picture of control. We were about 6 months into the shutdown, and Pennsylvania was really hammered. We have a governor who's just the worst. Tom Wolf is such an absolute travesty and has done so much damage to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the small businesses. He never was out and about unless he was protesting Black Lives Matter with Black Lives Matter. He was not out. He wasn't supporting anybody who was suffering. And his policies in the nursing homes, much like Andrew Cuomo, I argue led to the deaths of thousands and thousands of our elderly. It was about this time that this Facebook page I was doing, Wendy Bell Radio Facebook page, started to take off. People were kind of captive audiences. Many like you who follow me stumbled upon the program, started tuning in every day, sharing and sharing and sharing. This was before Facebook started to ban me as much as they do. It was not uncommon for a monologue, which at the time was only 7 or 8 minutes, to get 250,000 views. There was a hunger for this information that we were talking about, just common sense questions. And I got a phone call from a woman named Debbie Wright. She was a film producer. She was putting together a documentary about the shutdown called The Great Suppression. It's actually fantastic. If you go online and Google it, it's amazing. And they use some of my monologues, some of the video and the audio from my monologues, to pepper through the story of the tyrannical rule over the people of Pennsylvania. and the uncommon champions who emerged through all of that to stand up and fight and to be that one, to be like the truckers who aren't anti-vaccine, but they are pro-choice. Let me choose what I do. And there were a handful of these business owners. Taste of Sicily comes to play, who didn't shut down. They kept their doors open. Small business. The health department came, tried to shut them down, threatened to take away their licenses, fined them. And they went to court and they won over the Commonwealth. A David versus Goliath. And we have a state senator in Doug Mastriano, who I hope decides to run for governor here of this Commonwealth. Decorated war hero, 30 years in the Army, multiple combat tours. The kind of mission-focused veteran you want in the trenches when tyranny is knocking at your door. The number of people who suffered so unreasonably and the callous disregard for your feelings, for your ability to speak out, for your hope to save that business that you scrounged and sacrificed to make happen. The cavalier nature with which some people in elected positions believe they can wave their magic wand of tyranny and control your life. And now I see this ridiculous plan to pay people in the midst of our suffering. We the people who make this country, who develop the products, who truck them across country, the people who make the lights come on, who innovate, who invent, who manufacture, who dream, who heal. We are made to suffer while people who have no business being in this country are welcomed and paid our money. That is what this Biden administration wants to do. $10.5 billion would go to illegal immigrants in this reconciliation bill. And it would pay thousands upon thousands of dollars to migrant families who have children here, whether they came with them, whether they're born here, what have you. Thousands and thousands of dollars. And it does away with the provision that in order to qualify for this kind of money, that individual needs a social security number. No, not anymore. Why do we have an administration that is anti-American? Why are they picking winners and losers, and why do we have to be the losers? And I wish that there was a Democrat out there who vehemently disagrees with me, but has the ability to have an honest conversation about this. Because I would like to say, is this what you voted for? Is this what you expected? Can you be honest? That's the biggest question. Can you do what Paul Gosar should have done immediately and apologize to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for exercising schoolyard judgment and putting something stupid on Twitter? Do adults anymore have the ability to have that conversation in the mirror? I think I made a mistake. This isn't what I signed up for. Or is everybody like Jen Psaki, who has to blame some right-wing discrimination against Kamala Harris for her lack of popularity? Paying people who have no business being here, who before 2021, there was a plan in place to prevent them from cavalierly marching across the threshold of our border, demanding things that they don't deserve. You do. But you know what? Americans don't want handouts. I want government to stay out of my way. Let me sink or swim on my own. Look at what I'm doing. I was told multiple times, you can't do that, or you have to do it on my terms. And I said, don't think so. I'm going to try something else. Stop giving a pass and giving our hard-earned money and then lying about it to us, that it's not going to impact us, it's not going to bankrupt us, it's not going to financially cripple our children, and it's not going to fundamentally transform the fabric of this country by giving preferential treatment to 1.7 million illegal aliens who should not be here. That's not a nationalistic thing to say. That's an honest thing to say. We have our own problems. We have our own needs. Our children need before their children need. And I don't know if they're just trying to fundamentally change the tapestry of America, or if this is some globalist idea to make us weak. I don't know. But I know it's wrong. And I know that every day that I look at my BS board and every day I write down my notes, it just is all so very wrong. Getting your body in shape is one thing that you can do in a world that seems so sideways, right? Taking charge of your fitness. Making that decision, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to get a trainer. I'm going to take that class. I'm going to find out why I can't seem to lose this weight. But you need to know where to go. And if you live in southwestern Pennsylvania, in Somerset or Cambria counties, I encourage you to investigate Morgane's Fitness. Kelly Morgan is a veteran. She and her family own Morgane's Fitness. They're lovely. It's great to partner with somebody who has your fitness goals in mind too. Totally interested in what you want to accomplish. And Morgane's Fitness has everything you could possibly want, but it's that one-on-one attention. The membership options, the 24/7 opportunity to come in when you want, childcare, metabolism testing, all of it. Get in touch with them today. Morgane's Fitness, MORGAINZ fitness.com. Well, I kind of went off on a tangent there, but that's what I sometimes do. At least I didn't choke through it. That's good. All right, we're going to wrap this up in a bow here, coming up in a minute. Thanks for listening. We'll be back right after this Wendy Bell Radio program. Will be. Oh, we've got to drop the FDA Pfizer thing.
JD out.
Thank you, sir. Yes. My. Today's a big day in my household. After June, July, August, September, October, after almost 6 months, we're getting all of our belongings back after being flooded. I don't know if they bring back I'm sure they trash all the stuff that's been damaged. But now I have to figure out what the heck I'm going to do with it all. It's interesting. You don't realize how little you need all the jazz you have
right.
until it's gone.
I always say I'm trying to get rid of stuff.
I have two things that I want, really, that I care about. I have a box for each boy, like a plastic bin with a lid that has all of their precious stuff.
We had this conversation.
All their keepsakes, silly things, milestones, report cards, confirmation notices, special keepsakes, and ultimately, at some point when they have homes of their own, I will give them to them. I never did baby books.
Well, remember I called you when I was cleaning something out, and I said, did you keep report cards?
Oh, yeah.
My mother saved all the report cards, and
right.
I was a great student.
Right.
Wow.
That and the Christmas stuff. That's really all I want. But I'm sure I'm going to see, oh, that's right, we have that. That's what I don't need. Oh, that's right, we have that.
You need your wreath back.
I do. You made me a really great wreath. I'm going to need help, though. I'm going to need glue gun love. Because
here we go.
I like talking about John D'Onofrio every day as we wrap up the show because he helps people. He's helped my family, extended family members as well. Sit down and make a plan about where all your wealth goes after you die. I mean, kind of a morbid thought, but a necessary thought. If you put together a will, but you haven't put together a plan for your estate, what are you doing? John's got 40 years of experience. This is what he does. He knows the legal maze, the ins and outs of it, and he can help you oftentimes avoid some crippling taxes. You've been taxed enough on your money, right? Make the call. Sit down with John D'Onofrio, 412-928-2068. 412-928-2068. I have to laugh at this, you guys. I mean, it's utterly preposterous. FDA asks federal judge to grant it until the year 2076. FDA asks federal judge to grant it until the year 2076 to fully release Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine data. What? They want 55 years. So 55 years, what's that going to put us at? Well, I'll probably be dead.
I was going to say, if you're reporting on this.
And they're probably all dead too, which is probably the point. We need 55 years so that everybody whose fingerprints are on this absolute debacle is dead because we cannot be punished. Is that an extrapolation? Why on God's green earth would you ask for 55 years to release all of your data on something that was fast-tracked, Operation Warp Speed, that was put on the market in what, 7 months? Why would you need that? The federal government shields Pfizer from liability, gives it billions of dollars, makes Americans take its products, but won't let you see the data supporting its safety and efficacy. Who does the government work for? Well, as we've illustrated, very interesting when you look back on how many patents, if my memory serves me correctly, 73 patents were filed for the components of the COVID-19 vaccine before the pandemic. How's that possible, you ask? And where's Bill Gates? I'm sure his fingerprints are on this too. The FDA has asked a federal judge to make the public wait until the year 2076 to disclose all of the data and information it relied upon to license Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine. Wow. Nothing says transparency like wait half a century. That is not a typo. It wants 55 years to produce this information to the public. As explained in a prior article, the FDA repeatedly promised, quote unquote, full transparency with regard to COVID-19 vaccines, including reaffirming, quote, the FDA's commitment to transparency when licensing Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine. So wait, this is the same Food and Drug Administration that voted unanimously without looking at any of the issues in the VAERS vaccine adverse event reporting system that the FDA and the CDC founded jointly back in 1990. The same FDA that decided that, yes, these medications are absolutely important for kids between the ages of 5 and 11, of which less than 200 have died from COVID in the United States of America. Okay. I just wanted to make sure we were on the same page with that FDA. Okay, cool. With that promise in mind of full transparency, the FDA said, in August and immediately following approval of the vaccine, more than 30 academics, professors, and scientists from this country's most prestigious universities requested the data and information submitted to the FDA by Pfizer to license its COVID-19 vaccine. The FDA's response, it produced nothing. What? This is sort of like ignoring subpoenas for router data from Maricopa County, Arizona regarding election fraud. Nah, we're just not going to comply. But Steve Bannon is the problem. Okay. So in September, a law firm filed a lawsuit against the FDA on behalf of a group to demand this information. To date, almost 3 months after it licensed Pfizer's vaccine, the FDA still has not released a single page, not a single one. Instead, 2 days ago, the FDA asked a federal judge to give it until 2076 to fully produce this information. You know, this year's not looking good. Next, no, 2076. I like it. The FDA asked the judge to let it produce the 329,000 plus pages of documents Pfizer provided to the FDA to license its vaccine at the rate of 500 pages per month, which means its production would not be completed earlier than 2076. But you've got to get the job by January 4th or lose your job. I love how this calendar works for us. The FDA's promise of transparency is, to put it mildly, a pile of illusions. It took the FDA precisely 108 days from when Pfizer started producing the records for licensure to when the FDA licensed the Pfizer vaccine. So let's get this straight. The federal government shields Pfizer from liability, gives it billions of dollars, makes Americans take its product, but won't let you see the data supporting its safety and efficacy. Got it. And they wonder why the natives are restless. They wonder why truckers say, yeah, I ain't gonna do it. They wonder why doctors and nurses are willing to lose their jobs. They wonder why thousands of teachers have said no joy. Nothing to see here, though. Thanks for hanging with me as I've kind of snuffled my way through today's program. Hopefully we'll clear things up. Bad Joke Friday and good news tomorrow. Remember, WBRBrock at Gmail. See you tomorrow. Peace.